he's telling them now what he likes and what they should do a few minutes before the game. I've got to go home. I'll get home at midnight. And they've got to come down again for Monday. Devonport.
But yeah.
League match on Monday. Why did they have this at 4 o'clock?
Bring a shirt up earlier.
Well, yeah, 2 o'clock. Perfect day. Beautiful day.
Yeah.
Good afternoon and welcome to Lightwood Park down at the Den for some Lakosljac Cup action. For the first time this season we turn our attention to the Cup. Kingborough Lions taking on the Devonport Strikers in the first of 2 games in the Cup here this evening on Good Friday. Hopefully it's a great Friday and we get some entertaining football. Certainly last year it was. We had the same matchup I think with Olympia taking on Glenorchy Knights. That was a cracker. This one, looking at it, a slightly more definitive favourite in the Devonport Strikers. They coasted past the Lions last Saturday up at Valley Road by a tune of 6-0. Any chance the Lions of turning things around, Paul Hunt?
Honestly, probably not, but we'll see what the Den, in terms of its home ground advantage, can offer here this afternoon. Devonport, by the looks of it, are rotating a few of their starting players, especially with another game on very shortly after this on Monday, so we'll see what they do with that, but I am confident. I'm probably actually going to tip Devonport to win the whole competition, to be honest, so saying that they'll get done over here is unlikely, but Kingborough will be up for it, smarting after that 6-0 loss last weekend, and as well, they've started off promisingly, but still trying to get a settled lineup, still getting players in as well to their side. We've seen their keeper also looks like he's out there today as well, just from the view from the media box, so once Coach Greg Calvert gets a solid lineup, I expect them to kick on, but I think it's still a little early in the season for that, and I think Devonport pretty comfortable favourites here, Andrew.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that, and as you mentioned, Kingborough have got a new keeper in net today, Kenneth Perkinson coming in, which means Stalker relegated to the bench. We might have a look at the starting lineups for today. There is the Kingborough Lions, fairly expected starting 11. Danny Cowan will lead the lineup. Nick Cuthbertson in at centre half, the big stalk. Keenan Dowse, just heard the whisper that he might be playing slightly further up the park in attack today rather than fullback. Chris Downs in midfield. They need to get Chris Downs back to his best and hitting the scoreboard if they're a chance. Dominic Easton, a youngster in the midfield. James Hall, another young player getting an opportunity. He's a skillful player, still finding his feet at the top level, but can certainly go past a man. Perkinson will be in net. Joel Samet, their recent acquisition from Olympia, probably at left back. Joel Schuth, our favourite old stuff up the name because we know it's Scut now. He'll be centre back, and Noah Smithy Sharples probably partnering him in that 3-man defence they've been rolling out in recent weeks. Cameron Steele brings just that to the Kingborough Lions midfield. He's a big, strong lad. On the bench, Kent Sost will be a bit of attacking flair if they need it. Brenton Muir, Mitchell Stalker, the backup keeper. Vivarelli and Zamet's a fairly inexperienced bench there for the Lions, Paul.
Yeah, very youthful indeed, but they might need some run in this side come the second half. Keenan Dowse, it wouldn't surprise me if he pushes on. I think that's a good strategy, just from what we've seen for him the last few weeks. He's been probably their best attacking outlet, playing at more of a wing-back position as of late. As you say, good to see Downs and Steele in together. I think they're two players who can complement each other quite well, with Steele being able to put a bit of grunt in and Chris Downs being able to add a bit of that flair, and it's still just a question of where are the goals going to come from the Lions.
Yeah, they do tend to play with a back five, a fairly deep midfield, and then going off and getting isolated. As we move on to the Devonport Strikers, and the name that just jumps out at you right there is the number 9, returning to Tasmania for his second stint, the Canadian Raphael Reynolds. 3rd place in the Players MVP. I think he was a top 5 Mitsubishi medalist, team of the season. He was a revelation for the Strikers last time he was here. Big, strong centre half or defensive midfielder. I'd look to see what he can do. He's wearing the number 9, interestingly, so we'll see where he lines up. Jack Dance getting a chance, as does Kynan West. A couple of squad players, young players who haven't been getting many starts. As you mentioned, they've got the game on Monday, so good chance to get games into them. Ignacio Giampoli absolutely tore the Lions apart last week. They had no answer for him, and they're going to need to put the clamps on him if they're going to do anything here today. Max Fitzgerald, been super impressed with him out on the wing. Guillermo Lascano, probably the best centre-back in the league. Connor Park has looked pretty good at right back and has allowed Eddie Bidwell to push on onto the wing, but he starts on the bench today. Just a bit of rest there for Eddie, I would have thought. Is certainly plays a very exhausting style of football, the way he tears up and down that right-hand flank. Dominic Smith, you'd imagine, at left back. Joel Stone's been playing in attack and playing very well. And young Kynan Kanye West will look to see if he can take advantage of a start here. He scored a few goals off the pine. Can he make it count from the start? The Fox in the box up the sleeve if they need him, and along with Syson Mulroney. You won't see many stronger benches than that one, Paul.
I was going to say, it's just about the best bench we will see all season. We do often see, particularly South Hobart, have a pretty stacked bench, but I don't think many are going to beat that this year, and it's exactly great to see Raph Reynolds back. Bit curious about the number choice. I think maybe all the more traditional defending ones were taken, and his late entrance and the delay in getting the ITC means he's had to go with the slightly more unorthodox number 9, but great to see him back, and him and Lascano, what a centre-back pairing in the offering for Devonport, and also good to see Todd Kingston as well in that defensive midfield role. I reckon he'll have a pretty big job trying to keep Chris Downs quiet.
That centre of the park, Lascano, Reynolds, Kingston. Good luck getting through there, anybody. And that is just as good a unit as we've seen, certainly in my time covering the game down here. That is a formidable little central triangle we've got set there.
I mean, even Kingston, Lascano, and Mulroney is formidable enough. I mean, don't forget the big tall club captain as well. There's a towering presence, but let's see if there's any rust in Reynolds as the game gets underway. And it's Todd Kingston with the ball immediately, looking down the line. Giampoli with his first touch. Dom Smith knocks it back. Now out wide to Connor Park, who's had a pretty good relationship with Max Fitzgerald there on the flank so far this season. Back to Lascano, and there it is, Raph Reynolds. Second touch back in the MPL. He's left that one a bit short, and Steele manages to come in, and Dom Smith can't quite keep that one in. It goes out for a throw, but he did not get the last touch by the sounds of it.
So the Lino just donning the cap down there. It's a pretty sunny afternoon down at the Den here on Good Friday. It's good a day as any to come watch the football. Not a whole lot else on as Dom Smith with this one here. Drops it back to Reynolds. Forward looking for Ignacio Giampoli. So devastating last week. Really quality player as Reynolds works this one back to Pitchford. Just the one goal has gone past him all season. We'll have to maintain that record. Joel Stone now turns and spreads it out wide, and it's poorly dealt with, and it's allowed Kynan West in here. He charges into the box. The youngster, it'll take a deflection into the path of the new keeper Perkinson, so no harm done, but slightly just let off there as he saw West storm in behind him.
Yeah, a slightly loose touch there from Smithy Sharples. As that's the first heave down the line for Kenneth Perkinson of North Carolina, coming in during the week. Needed a bit of cover in the goalkeeping position. Nick O'Connell, who started about half the games in the NPL Tas last year, still unfortunately out at the moment. As the Lions try to play it out of the back. And it's Joel Scutt. And Samet on short, and instead knocks it straight into the path of Connor Park. Fitzgerald searching for Kanye West, but eventually beaten out by Downs tracking back. Now it's Stone. Joel Stone trying to run at the defence, but Samet gets in. Downs. Down the line. Fitzgerald looking for Stone, who tries to keep it in with a aerobic slide, but can't quite do so.
Having himself a good year up on the coast, Joel Stone, certainly with the likes of Mann and Holden disappearing, more responsibility on his shoulders, and really since about the halfway point of last season when he got dropped by Chris Gallo and he came back in, and he's just been absolutely tearing it up ever since, really, and the responsibility is his in attack this year, and he's seized it. He's in devastating touch right now as Samet Takes the throw in short, cut out by Kingston. Leonidas. Scut just chipping one over the top that will see its way down there to Pitchford. They'll play out through the Spaniard Lascano. Lascano chips it down the line. It's a good ball too. A chance perhaps for Fitzgerald to swing one in. He does just that. Dangerous looking one brought down by Giampoli. Couldn't quite find Stone. And will spill out the back and Steele will take it away, but it's going to be a free kick going against Downs, I think, and in favour of the Strikers. Dangerous position this.
It is indeed. If it was the opposition, you'd consider it Chris Downs' territory. We'll see what Devonport can do over the free kick. Lee Giampoli likely to have a look over it, potentially.
Yeah, or Stone, I think, would be the most likely. Stone appears to be fancying his chances here. Of course, Daniel Sison currently on the bench today, but another one pretty proficient over the dead ball. We'll see who will take this one, Stone or Giampoli. It's the first test here for the new lines keeper, Perkinson, as he looks to set his wall. Make sure that's all in order. Will it be Giampoli or Stone? It's going to be Stone, and he bends it straight down the throat of the keeper, and Perkinson with a strong pair of hands. Not going to get beaten by that. Good dip on the free kick from Stone, just not the direction.
And a good chat following up from his teammates as well. There were three right under the nose of Perkinson with no lines in sight, so he had to show good hands there, did the American keeper. A little touch from Stone. And they'll look to recycle it out the back. It's Lascano to Reynolds. Never thought I'd see those two in the same lineup. The fantastic imports that Devonport have attracted over the last couple of years. Fitzgerald, lovely turn to get past Samet. Max Fitzgerald free, waiting for him in the box, one of whom is Stone. Stone tried to play the return ball. The stalk, Cuthbertson, does very well to clean that one up. Does only manage to pass it back to the Strikers. They'll have to reset. Kingborough playing that 5 at the back we've seen with some regularity this season. It was Devonport trying to attack down the left-hand side. Sweeping ball from Kingston, looking for Fitzgerald. Samet gets underneath it, tries to find Keenan Dowse. Battling with Dance. Now the two number 2s going at it. Samet charging through the middle. He's beaten 2 and he's got a player on the far side and an acre of space. James Hall, good covering challenge. In the end, Hall goes around Dom Smith, tries the back heel to Cowan, but Kingston manages to clean that one up. Well, it's surely a foul by James Hall there. Copper giving the old, what do you expect me to do? You just clattered into him. Back heel to Cowan, but Kingston occurred out of play, so he might get away with that one up. Throw in is adjudged. Well, it's surely a foul. Wasn't really a great point to that. James Hall there. Devonport, as we expected, having the majority of possession so far. Down the line to Stone. Stone has got no options in the box at the moment, so he'll try to kill some time. Smithy Sharples comes in. Now goes past Cuthbertson. Lovely run here from Stone, and he should just about win the corner, and a goal kick. I had the Kingborough Lions pole in the way, not quite the KGV grandstand one, but it was right in my way. What was your verdict of that, Andrew?
I thought he just went for the cheeky little nutmeg, having beaten 2, and went to beat a 3rd and really humiliate him as well in the process. I thought it did take a touch off the line, but perhaps not. Anyway, goal kick. Stone looking very much in the mood, ever the showman. Such fancy footwork, and they'll have to build it from the back from Pitchford here to his full-back Park. And solid at the back so far. Fitzgerald, so many of those first-time touches. Such an intelligent player, the way he reads the game and brings others into it. Real creative force in this side. Giampoli now to Dom Smith. The defender has coughed it up here, though. The Lions swoop on him and win it back through Hall. Won't come to anything as Reynolds will track this one back in the sun down here at Lightwood Park. Pitchford. Now Lascano. Lions force him wide and he'll just chip it down the wing. And no one really making a run for him. Scott really doing no favours for his goalkeeper there. Just punched one in. Couldn't control it, and they've gifted a corner to the Strikers.
That's lazy is probably the best word I can use to describe that there from Joel Scudder. He had time to take 12 touches if he needed to and to knock that one back. He was about to compliment Devonport's playing out from the back there. It's rare you see goalkeepers applaud their team's play, but Pitchford had a round of applause for that before. It was well deserved, as we'll have the corner swung in from Stone, near post, flicked up in the air, and that's out for a goal kick. Dom Smith charging in, but just the way they moved it from side to side there, Devonport. The keeper was well deserved. Really enjoyed it. As we'll have the corner swung in from Stone, near post, corner. Flicked up in the air, and that's out.
Touch off of
for a goal
Downs.
kick.
It's a fairly half-hearted claim from Dom Smith there. So probably the right decision is. Another look at Perkinson launching this one straight onto the head of Dom Smith. Giampaoli tried to flick it on but gave it straight to Smithy Sharples. Bringing it well was Kingston. Now it's chipped out too far ahead of Kynan West.
Could use a shout the new keeper to say when having a goal kick aim for Cohen's head rather than some of his less aerially dominant teammates.
Yeah, probably the obvious target in the air, the Lions skipper. He presents here and then flicks it forward, repelled away by the Spaniard Lascano. And down in front of the sponsors boards there, getting a nice little value for money early on in this one as the folks locked in that little quadrant of the ground.
Gets bigger and bigger every time we come down here, that's the sponsors side of the ground. It's good to see here at Kingborough, one of the larger catchment areas.
Certainly got the big junior numbers, and look for great to Warren Isles and his committee and all involved here. They've really been putting in the hard yards on the sponsorship front, and I think the signs pretty well speak for themselves as to the success he's had in bringing them in.
Let's hope they get some assistance with stage 2 of what they want to do down here at Lightwood Park, as Kenan Dowse goes for a jaunt down the sideline, back to Downs. Downs goes near post, kneed by Hingston to Raph Reynolds. Stone is caught in a sandwich. Dowse to Downs, intercepted by Lascano. Giampaoli. Hingston. He's got a bit too much curl on that one for Max Fitzgerald, who was making an inside run.
It's a bit of a sleepy day, generally Good Friday for mine, and I think it's a bit of a sleepy start to this football match, the first 10 minutes. Not a furious tempo by any means.
Yeah, they've had the nice, relaxing bus ride down from Devonport, particularly in Midland Highway holiday traffic. I'm sure it was a very impatient way to come down here. And then Kingborough, they're right by the seaside here at Kingston, and I reckon they'd be enjoying some seafood as this one knocks back to Downs. Downs tries to lay it to Hall, but no advantage paid by Brenton Copperer, and this is real Chris Downs territory over the set piece here.
This is the real advantage, giving Chris Downs a free kick within 25 yards. Perhaps that is the biggest influence on games in recent weeks, Chris Downs, but we know he's got the ability, and he could turn this one on its head with an early goal here. Fully expecting the shot. He is quite a distance out, but certainly wouldn't be expecting anything less than a shot from Downs here. He'll try and test Pitchford, who will need to be alert. Sun shining in his eyes here. And arguably the best dead ball taker in the state. Standing poised at the top of the box. It's Chris Downs to step up for the Lions, and he sends it low. It's fumbled, and then clearing up was Hingston. Just smashing that one behind for a corner. Couldn't quite reel it in here, Pitchford. But Hingston made sure nothing was doing.
He hit it with the laces there, Downs, and managed to get a bit of side spin on that one, bouncing in front of the keeper, and Hingston following up to boot it clear.
See what, Kenan Dowse was the first on the scene though, wasn't he?
Just, if he didn't even shovel it that little bit, it would have been right in Dowse's lap as Steele takes this one to the back post, and Cuthbertson rising high. Got a deflection off his marker, Hingston, so they'll trot to the other side and take the set piece. The Stork rising high, and good call there from the referee. Seeing that come off the back of Hingston's head. And now it'll be Downs, who's got some corner duties this week. Goes centrally off, free header for Danny Cohen right into the middle of the box. You would expect someone of his repute, particularly in the air, to hit the back of the net from there, Andrew.
That's brilliant delivery, and that's just got to be in the back of the net from Danny Cowan. Unfortunately, the big man there, he made the run really well, escaped his defender. He's just got too much on it, sent it over the top. Best chance of the game, and it should be the Lions 1-0. It's against this Devonport team, you're not going to get many chances like that. They've conceded 1 goal all season. You've just got to, if you're going to cause, the anatomy of a cup set, Paul, you need to take your chances like that. So they've made a positive start here. The Lions have created a couple of chances, but that's all for nothing, really, if you don't take them. And they've almost been gifted another one here. Pitchford, that's a penalty. He's just dropped the shoulder straight onto Steele there. That was a bit unnecessary, I think, from Pitchford. Copra points straight to the spot, and the Lions, well, they're going to get their chance to take the lead after all.
Calamitous football all round here from Devonport. Really chucked the right hip in there into Cameron Steele. And he's protesting it rather vigorously at the moment. Is Pitchford, needs some teammates in front of him. Joel Stone playing referee peacemaker is an interesting go-to here, but it's probably good he's doing that. The Devonport striker. And a gilt-edged chance here for Kingborough after 5 minutes where they didn't really touch the ball. They've now got the prospects of going 1-0 up.
I think Pitchford's argument is that he was just shooting the ball out of play like you see many times per game, and perhaps just went in a little forcefully in trying to do that. The tumble was taken, and the Kingborough Lions, well, we mentioned they've only been beaten once all year, the Devonport Strikers. A chance to match that here. Danny Cowan, can he make amends? The Lions skipper to step up and send the Kingborough Lions into a surprise lead here, 15 minutes into the contest. Copra just keeping us in suspense.
It's like they're checking VAR, there's such a delay.
Well, no VAR, but we've had the delay. Danny Cowan now can put the Lions ahead in this game. He's denied by Pitchford, drove it straight down the middle, and the Strikers keeper did not flinch. Palms it aside. And Danny Cowan twice has denied himself the opportunity to give his side the lead. And Devonport, well, Pitchford, he just won the mind games there, didn't he?
And it was a pre-season friendly down here, Kingborough and Riverside, and Cowan hit the exact same penalty. And on that occasion, the keeper did move and he hit the roof of the net. This time it was at head height. And the keeper did not flinch as Downs puts it into a promising area. Reynolds manages to clear. It's Samet. As far as Steele. Joel Scott called for this one and lays it out to Hall. James Hall doesn't quite get a chance to wrap his boot around that one, but he does like going down the centre for his penalties, Cowan, is the point I was trying to make earlier. And Pitchford,
he'd be aware of that.
Yeah, he stood tall, has Pitchford, done his homework. Solid hands as well.
I believe he is a qualified doctor these days, Pitchford. So a very smart man. No doubt he would have done the research. As Carno gets himself into a little bit of trouble playing out, and the Strikers are just being put under pressure here. It's been a good start from the Kingborough Lions. They're pressuring them pretty well, but now they've got through that. Can they find Kynan West? He has got plenty of room to operate in. He whips the cross to the back post, away by Scutt. Just got enough on it to take it away from Fitzgerald. Cleared as far as the Canadian Raphael Reynolds. Now it's Leonidas. Toddy Hingston coughed it up to Steele, and James Hall came in, weaving his way through his Dom Smith. It's a real battle for possession in the middle of the park right now. The Strikers emerging with it and retreat back to Connor Park. I reckon just those last few minutes might have just awoken this Strikers team. They've cruised to victory last week. Probably would have come down here thinking, yeah, we've got this one. Well, they're well aware they're in a battle right now, Paul Hunt.
Yeah, I was just staring at Coach Rick Coughlin really giving his team the hurry up to play it quicker. He was imploring Park to lay it to Fitzgerald first time just before there and was not terribly happy. That's not how it happened. Deep discussion down in the Strikers bench, and there a little bit of worry starting to set in as Downs sprays it out to Hall. He's got Steele in front of him, goes inside. There's a wall of yellow there, but does well to get past Cowan. Cowan's in again. Danny Cowan saved by Pitchford. 3 attempts on goal already for Cowan, and Pitchford has come up strong again. Sprayed out to Dowse. And Dowse trying to keep it in, which he does. Park for company. Lays it to Samet, who manages to win the corner off Dance, but another gilt-edged chance for the Lions, Andrew.
That's 3 of them, and a good save from Pitchford on this occasion. Timed his run well. Park was playing him on, and Cohen just opted for placement on that occasion. Pitchford, the technique was fantastic. Stuck the leg out and makes his second big save to deny the line skipper. Corner taken deep to the back post. Scutt will track this one down. Just over the top with dexterous stuff there from the big fella. Now we want to turn onto that left foot, centering to the top where Keenan Dowse has beaten to a great sliding challenge there. Coming in from Park. Danger not yet passed. Swung back in off the head of Kingston. Picked up by Keenan Dowse. Then squares it. Punched into the middle. The strikers will be able to clear though through Raph Reynolds. And now Kynan West looking to spring the counter attack, combining with the Giampoli. Went back inside to Joel Stone, who's just clipped from behind. And a free kick on halfway. Joel Stone asking for a little bit more.
Unsurprising there from Stone. And there's a name yet we have not called in about 15 minutes. I have not seen Giampoli touch the ball in 15 minutes. Kingborough doing a very good job. They really pulled the strings against them last week, and they've clearly identified and gone to the drawing board there to put something in place as Stone tries to track this one down to no avail. Does look like Dom Easton is really playing almost an old school man marking job on him.
Yeah, he's certainly keeping a close eye on him, and yeah, he mentioned last week he pulled the strings, he scored goals, he was absolutely fantastic. Ignacio Giampoli. And they don't want to get beaten the same way. That's the main thing you've got to react to after one match against the team. Don't get beat the same way again. And so far, they've put the clamps on him, but he's going to be a tough man to contain for a full 90 minutes. He's a very gifted player. Steele, the American here, just losing possession. It'll be a throw in the way of Dom Smith. Takes it to Stone. Buzzing about. Pretty free roll in attack today for Stone. Here's Kingston. Back to Connor Park. Reaching 20 minutes here in the game, and the last 10 minutes has really come to life. Next Fitzgerald. Typical strikers fashion. They don't see the option they want to spring a good attack. They'll just reverse, go around the back and come down the other flank. A very patient team. As this one's worked forward, West won't quite be able to get there. I think a lot of that's probably, I'm not sure if it's the way they necessarily want to set up every week, but when teams park it pretty deep against them, they kind of invite that game style from the strikers. We saw they probably struggled to do that against South Hobart in the second half, especially when that wind got up. They had to change gears a little bit, but generally, a fairly patient team who just knock it around the back and pick their moments.
I think they've done pretty well in transitioning from Chris Gallo to Coghlan. They've sort of building on that possession style. As that one's heaved in the air by Perkinson. Hingston underneath it. It's Dance. Just about gets it to Hingston, who has no real options down that side. Cameron Steele harassing his opposite number there for the lines, and it does look like Steele's playing further forward than Chris Downs. Downs is in more the Perlo type role of deep lying, and Cameron Steele doing all the running around. As Carno slide passes that one to Smith. Dropping inside is Connor Park, who's looking up and doesn't have a huge amount of options. Ingston finds Fitzgerald. And he wanted the inside ball to Les Carno. Sliding across is Easton, and eventually it falls out to the Lions, who play it back to the keeper. Perkinson goes the raking ball towards Dowse, who just keeps it in play. Scutt puts his foot through that one. Samet, I think he thought that went out of play and just stopped. Cohen eventually is the one to press Park. Fitzgerald. And Dance puts his head straight to the air for that one. Knew that was miscued from the moment it hit his foot. We're halfway through this first half. It'll be Kingborough that'll certainly be the happier of the two sides here at the Den, as that's a good ball down the line from Perkinson. Dowse running onto it, gets ahead to it, trying to get around the defender, who does well. Reynolds plays it back to his keeper, and Pitchford is sick of seeing it there and whacks it forward. Scutt doesn't quite do what he wanted to do with that. Fitzgerald puts his foot on it, storming into the box, but he delayed it too much. Giampoli had already made the run. He thought there was someone at the top of the D, not on this occasion. It'll be Smith. Back to Kingston. Now Park, who seems to be cutting more and more inside as this game's gone on. Lescano does win the foul, much to the chagrin of the Kingborough Lion fans who can't quite see what that was for.
I'm going to say the Strikers probably not enjoying this trip to Lightwood Park as much as their last trip, which I think was when they hoisted the trophy at the back end of last year. It was Coronation Day down here for the two North West Coast teams, as I recall.
Yes, it does ring a bell with Ulverston rising the women's trophy first, and then Devonport having a great old time here as this one goes down to the back post, just kept in, but offside flag is up from the assistant referee. Kingston, one of the more unlikely candidates to be blown for offside. And come right round the back post. And I think Lescano got a slight feather to that. Yeah.
Well, certainly that's the only way he could have been offside. So certainly in the referee's view, there's been a little flick there. And
certainly probably enjoyed themselves even more later on that night, Devonport, but they didn't mind the celebration here at Lightwood Park.
I think we can attest to that, as this one will be knocked long into the middle. It was an ugly goal kick there. Tidied up pretty well by Smithy Sharples. Bailed his keeper out a little bit. Kingston takes it for the Strikers. Chips it across to Fitzgerald. Samet marking him tightly. Back to Todd Kingston. Has a bit of room to operate in, but tried to use a bit too much of it with a really heavy touch. Had a fair bit of room, but really pushed it to the limit there. Anyway, throw in will be taken by Connor Park. Fitzgerald. Knocks it back to his fullback. Now Kingston. Ooh, an ill-timed slip. Yeah, Danny Cowan coming from his blind side. They keep a hold of the ball pretty well, though. Here's Kynan West. They'll look to have a run at Smithy Sharples. Fancied himself, but he couldn't get around the young centre half. Ball back in dispute. Stone, clever little pass. Kynan couldn't quite flick it back into his own path. It would have been spectacular had he done so, but not quite being able to haul that one in.
I didn't get a chance to do a pitch inspection prior to this match, but Devonport Strikers players, particularly around the centre circle and towards the halfway line, are slipping over left, right and centre. Yeah, Lescano's fallen over a couple of times. We've seen Kingston as well. And from here, it looks in pretty good order, Lightwood Park.
Yeah, can't really blame the pitchers, I would have thought. Seems pretty good nick. Weather's been fine. A little bit of moisture in it, but nothing too drastic. See the way the ball's rolling around. It's a pretty good surface to play football on, so not sure what the cause of that is, but the Strikers back on the attack here through Fitzgerald. Been busy, but hasn't quite been able to get in behind the lines, Max Fitzgerald. He's been receiving the ball and nipping back, playing in his midfielders. Part of that's probably because the lines are setting up so deep. They haven't really got in behind them too often yet.
And it'll be pretty difficult to get in behind at any stage. It's only really if Joel Samet or Smithy Sharples really pushes on and they try to go through that gap, as it's not a drag back on Cowan, and it's heaved out of play.
I just think Kingborough need to score before half-time. I can't believe that Devonport are going to play in this manner for the full 90 minutes. They're a better team than this. They touched them up last week. The Lions have had a good spell in the ascendancy. They need to make it count on the scoreboard. Can Steele do just that? He's surrounded, works it out to Danny Cowan. Crossed in. Dom Smith will see that one away from James Hall, but they should be one to the good, and they need to make sure that they are by half-time, because it's surely going to be Devonport going up a gear later in the match, and they might make that work for them. The Falcon into the face of Giampoli, almost turning into a through ball. That would have been one of the more remarkable assists. Well one back there by Dance. Giampoli back to Stone. He's absolutely surrounded here. Very much in the Lions' den there was Joel Stone, and they go back to their keeper.
Yeah, they're really congesting the middle of the park here are the Lions, and Lescano with a heavy touch. Cowan can get in front. Steele tries to find Downs. Cowan looks to go back to Downs. Hall, Downs. Now Steele gets an opportunity to size it up, Steele, but he scuffs that shot. And Pitchford will comfortably collect. Dom Smith, Conan West, the ball over the top here could be on, but they lay it out short. Now Reynolds plays that to no one in particular. Joe Scott inadvertently knocks it back to Samet. Now Perkinson, a long-ranging ball. He's done that a couple of times to find Keenan Dowse there on the far side, who was straight offside by the look of it. And that was a really promising move that could have built there for the Lions, but just a bit sloppy there from the winger. It was Stone. Whacks it in to Dowse, and now Cohen tries to hit the return ball to him. Stone, who's dropping deeper and deeper as this match wears on. Fitzgerald, judged to have got that illegally with the hand. Just seeing, it looks like Dance and Stone have swapped positions here for the moment, as Joel Stone now finds Fitzgerald in a good pocket of space. As he put a bit too much sauce on that one, he manages to keep it in. Joel Scott did some good elusive defending work there. Now it's Dowse. Cohen wants it down the line, and it goes in that direction. The hill's going to work in his favour here, Cohen. Does Reynolds remember what that hill's like? He does very well, the defender. Kingston looks up. Doesn't see any options to one side, so comes back to the near side. And Stone running at the defence. Heavy touch. Gets around Scott. Is clipped. Plays on. And Pauley to Perkinson. Right at him again at head height. Joel Stone maybe dropping from deep and running at the fence is not a bad option for him.
Yeah, that was really impressive stuff from Joel Stone, skipping through the midfield, beating defenders. He's looked their most likely player in attack today, Joel Stone. He really had the two chances I can recall through the first 30 minutes. Both have been shot straight at Perkinson, who's shown strong hands on both occasions. The Lions pretty pleased with the start there, mate. Here's Scott. Ending this one down the line, curled it back to the path of Guillermo Lasciano. The Spaniard wants to play this into the path of Conan West. Smithy Sharples getting back to get a piece of that one and stop the youngster getting him behind. He's really stayed glued to the touchline in this first half, Conan West. He's just been waiting out there, and he's on a few occasions found himself in acres. We have a look at that shot on target there from Giampoli. Back they go to Reynolds. Lascano. Giampoli, Stone, lovely work. This Dance with a heavy touch. Just let them down. The final moment there. The throw-in's going to go the way of the Lions. Fitzgerald, he might get away with it, taking it quickly, not to be.
Joel Samet using some wonderful D-licence there and stole about 10 yards from where that ball went out. Wonderful work from the fullback.
The Lions bench not as successful at trying to win themselves a throw in there. There it appears. What the random spectator is playing. Ball boy really put himself in a precarious position going down that cliff. Well played, sir. Fitzgerald with the cross in over the head of West. Trying to pick him out. It's just not quite clicked in attack so far for Devonport, although starting to spend a little bit more time in their final third now. Really under pressure there for a while as Kingborough, first 20 minutes, really pushing hard, and they should be in the lead in this game. Hall, Easton, back to Smithy Sharples. Heaves it forward, only Raph Reynolds back there. And Pitchford conceded the penalty, then promptly saved it, and made a big save in a one-on-one moments afterwards, so this afternoon going along just nicely. Dance can't get in behind her downs. Puts that one into touch. 2 minutes tick by down here at the Den.
Since that Cohen one-on-one shot, Kingborough haven't really created anything. And as you say, we really want them. Stone going around. I think a throw-in has been called there. Joel Stone really wanted to play on. Cohen, yeah, after that one-on-one, Kingborough haven't looked likely to threaten again. And you just wonder if they're going to rue those 2 real chances here in the first half, as you were alluding to before. It's unlikely Devonport are going to come out in such a, I guess, a slow manner in a second half. That one's down the line in the Douse direction again. Park had the height advantage, but didn't quite win it. A bit of a foul after there from Dance. Cohen managing to win that one. So completely missed that in live play, to be honest. So we'll have a look at the replay. Did just leave the leg in there a bit. Did Dance.
A little kick out and making sure it was seen was Cohen. Samet. Steele. Was in some quick feet. Couldn't quite get through though. Good defence in the end. No, the foul blown on Connor Park. He's not happy with that. In fact, he's so angry he picks up the ball because he wants a discussion with the referee. It did seem a slightly harsh one for mine.
Yeah, I didn't really see what was wrong with that, but another set piece opportunity for the Lions, and they have looked very strong from that position so far. It's a two-man wall for the Strikers. It'll be Downs to take. You'd imagine he's going to look for that near post run of Cohen again, or to try and hit the other centre-back tall timber that the Lions have got in spades. Cuthbertson and Scott. It'll be Downs to take. Copra keeping us in suspense as Down goes to that near post. This time it's well cleared. Steele nods it back in. It's going to be eventually cleared by the Strikers. Dom Easton with the up and under. Hingston doesn't quite win it. Raph Reynolds bails him out. Offside called against Fitzgerald. Samet wanted to take that a bit quicker, but Fitzgerald just playing a nice little bit of antics there with Joel Samet. Not quite kicking it away, but just letting it crawl with him.
Really pushing the envelope there as Brenton Goffrey comes in as a laugh. I know exactly what you're doing there. And in the end, a yellow card for Rick Coughlin, the Devonport Strikers coach. So he's clearly had a little bit too much to say down there on the touchline, and into the book goes the boss.
And he has been straying on the edge of his technical area the entire game. He was just about on the pitch there at one stage. And judging by the ironic cheers of the Kingborough Lions crowd, they may have heard him over the past 35 minutes.
Yeah, certainly very much a manager who likes to be active up on his toes. Into the technical area, barking out the instructions. Can't argue with the results he's delivered for them so far this year. Perhaps today, one of the first real challenges or spots of adversity they've come across. South Hobart probably the other one. They fought hard for the result that day, but it's been pretty comfortable for the most part in games this season. The Devonport Strikers have been winning most of their games pretty easily. This one will be built from the back. Oh, just under hit there by Raph Reynolds. It's going to work out all right, though, for Smith. Giampoli weaving his way in and out, getting the better of Easton. Then plays it to Dance, back to Giampoli. He's surging through them here. He chips it in. Beautiful ball, and that's almost lobbed the keeper off the woodwork. The flag had gone up anyway on Max Fitzgerald. That would have been a remarkable goal. Giampoli's run fantastic, and I'm not sure he meant that at all. Just a heavy touch nearly turned into a sublime chip.
He did not mean that at all, Max Fitzgerald. He wanted to take a touch and kind of the quick hitter shot on goal. It's the first time really in this half we have seen Ignacio Giampoli take the game by the scruff of the neck, and that is the talent. He has Devonport's midfield import. And there's Perkinson. Makes that one down the line to Hall, who I think he just misjudged that one in one of the remaining sunny patches we've got left here at the Den, thanks to daylight savings ending the other week. It's getting dark a lot earlier down here.
Yeah, second half, the artificial light would take over just about, I'd imagine. So Brenton Copra has perhaps hired a high boot here from Scut, or on Scut.
I think he's...
on Scout, in fact, so yellow card for Dance. He's arguing his point.
Cuffy, go! Cuffy, go! Kenneth can have it, Chris. Kenneth can have it. Noah, sit back in. Cuffy's gone.
Kingborough taking the opportunity to push up the field here. We've got the keeper taking the free kick at the edge of the centre circle. So we have a look. There's the replay of the card. Definitely going to Jack Dance, so we got that covered.
Quite the one we're after, but yeah, confirmation. Dance into the book. Perkinson shown a pretty good leg so far, and he chips in a dangerous-looking ball, repelled away, top of the box. Couldn't quite control that Keenan Dowse, and Joel Stone doing the defensive work that turns into a threatening-looking ball trying to spring Fitzgerald. Easton opting for safety first.
Wouldn't surprise me if Perkinson had ever been scouted to be a punter back in high school or something like that. He's got a real nice weight on his kicks as the American.
Well, possibly. Might need to find out the background of his collegiate career over in the States. So, yeah, I've certainly seen a few goalkeepers as kickers and the like in the American football over the years. Yeah, very good leg on him, it would seem. This one's in there. They're not quite on the level of Sean Lewis springs to mind. We talk about distribution of keepers in the NPL Tasmania. He's the best I've seen. The Warriors American keeper, he could hit a 10 pence from about 60 yards. He was incredible the way he just knocked those long balls. I think we've seen that standard replicated since.
No, I'm struggling, racking my brain to think of especially some of the import ones as player has gone down in the centre of the park there. I think that's Dance. Scud just seemed to collapse to the ground, clutching his face.
Brenton Copper is going to have a word with his assistant here, I'd have thought. We can get to the bottom of what happened. Not too sure. Something off the ball there. Copper in discussions with his AR at the moment as to what he might have seen. Any ideas there, Dooley? No one up here in the media box or anything?
No. I was just cringing at the sight of seeing the word goaltending to talk about goalkeeping.
As a staunch ice hockey man, that doesn't bother me in the slightest.
I know. Wrong sport. Go goalkeeping.
You're trying to do the deep dive on his keeping back in the States. That's good areas though, Paul.
Oh, absolutely.
So, Scout, back to the man prompting my co-commentator to deep dive the internet and the troves of North Carolina college soccer as Park plays this one out. Chipped in Fitzgerald to Stone. Stone just gets away from it a little bit there. Nice work winning it back, Keenan Dowse. Now he turns and goes. Waltzing between them, Joel Stone kept battling away, won it back. Nice work, two-way player, Joel Stone. Key mover. Can the strikers hit them in the last few minutes before the break here? Max Fitzgerald dancing on the ball. That's a good little reverse pass for Dance. He's only really got one to pick out, which was Kynan West. Fitzgerald knocks it back in towards Dance, then bends it for the back post. It was working back, but not quite enough. It's one of the better chances the strikers have forged, and they do seem to be just growing into this game a little.
He tried to really wrap his foot around that one. Did the striker, as we've got a delay in play as Zebra's coach, Dave Smith, is in absolutely no will to do what our good friend did and climb down that bank and get the ball. So someone of thought the younger variety will collect that one for Perkinson, whose deep dive is actually, there's actually extensive information on him, which is probably why I'll need half time to do that deep dive. There's a lot more on him than others. The North Carolinian, he whacks that one in the Dowse direction, his favourite outlet so far in the first 41 minutes. Fitzgerald tunnelled underneath that one. And Downs whacks that one clear. Copper just having a word. There's a big space here for Dom Smith if they want to go in that direction, but they've missed that opportunity. I reckon Coach Coughlin is going to be looking towards his bench here in this second half, so I reckon this is a real fox-in-the-box type game. Just to really eke out something, although they're only in here as Stone... It was like Carno striding forward from centre-back. Perkinson quickly off his line. I just think they need a different dimension up top to sort of nullify Scut and the Stork Nith Cuthbertson a little bit, as Cowan rises with Reynolds, wins it. Dowse whacks it into the face of Kingston. And that'll go back to Pitchford.
No, I agree. It's a good shout. I think we've seen a few times they've gotten positions to play the ball into the area, looked up and seen either a Giampoli or a West, and then a couple of big hulking centre halves in there for company. So not really an aerial target. It could be a day for the Fox. Another one I'd like to see is Eddie Bidwell. I just think they've lacked a little bit of spark and energy out there. They've a little bit flat. It's certainly improved as the half's worn on, but they've got one man on that bench who'll bring plenty of that. It's Eddie Bidwell. He's got the Energizer bunny about him, I think. Just doesn't stop buzzing about the pitches. Charles Stone, good chest control there, but his best pass to Todd Kingston. Saw it away from Blue Steel down there in the midfield. Kingston just dwelling on this one. We'll knock it back to Pitchford with 90 seconds left in the first half here. The Kingborough Lions doing well. Probably should be ahead in the game. The Devonport Strikers, well, I thought this would be a fairly comfortable win for them today, but it's looking like it's going to be anything but, as a clumsy foul there by Joel Stone. And perhaps the last opportunity for the Lions to try and work something forwards here.
There you
go.
There's the Stork and Cuthbertson all aim to take. Cohen is squared up right on Raph Reynolds. Keenan Dowse at the far post. It goes in the Cohen direction, who pretty much wins the header. Dowse gets underneath it, hits the volley. Keenan Dowse, the foul had been committed anyway. And he's been their most lively outlet, Keenan Dowse, as he has been the last couple of weeks, to be honest. And I think that move to push him up to a true winger rather than a fullback, as that's under hit and Hall nearly gets there. West tries to keep it in and does. So does Smithy Sharples. Former Olympia centre-back strides forward. Now Steele. Steele looking for Downsy. Set that a little far in front. Downs has got time to wrap his boot around it and wins the corner for his side. So as we tick into stoppage time, Lions certainly with the last chance of this half.
Fifth corner of the half. 5 corners to 1. 5 shots to 3. 3 on target. So they have shaded the first half statistically, the Kingborough Lions, and you miss a penalty, that header from 5 yards out. The one-on-one with Cohen, there've been 3 very good looks that they've had. Fortunately, their skipper unable to take one. Can they take the lead before the break all the same? There'd be good value for it. It's again Danny Cohen. And again, it's over the top from the Lions skipper.
Another chance for Cohen. Just Reynolds was his marker there, who ended up nowhere near it. And Cohen's shooting or heading boots have not been on today so far. The Lions stalwart, as that is a foul adjudged to be committed on Kynan West. Another great unintentional kicking the ball away there from Cuthbertson. As we still tick into the 47th minute mark. Not sure where this amount of stoppage time has come from.
Penalty.
Yeah, we did comment we had to wait for that a while. It's Fitzgerald now. Sizing up Samet. Goes inside. Gets the return ball. Stone tries to play it quickly. Giampoli to Park. Park chips it down the line in the Fitzgerald direction. Scutt comes across. Heaves that one down the line. Cohen using his body well. Got a bit too much sauce on that chest. Fitzgerald, return ball to Stone. Good slide challenge from Downs. Now Giampoli trying to scythe his way through to the defence. Numbers back for the Lions. And with that, Renton Copra blows for the end of the first half. And the applause we can hear from the Lions fans really tells it all. After going in as massive underdogs, they've more than held their own in this first half and undoubtedly should be ahead.
Yeah, they really should be ahead. They might be kicking themselves. They're not. Will they be made to pay for the fact they aren't? Because they have had the better scoring chances through 45 minutes here in Devonport. Well, they're going to need to turn things around here a little bit. Full credit to Greg Calvert, who's obviously looked back over the game tape from last week. He's formulated a game plan that's working. He's negated the strengths of the strikers, really congested that central midfield. He's disrupted the strikers playing out from the back, and really, he's done everything they could. He just needed his skipper to put one of those chances away.
He's had 3 clear-cut chances, Cohen, and another half chance as well, as we'll have a look at those chances. This being the first one from the corner, completely unmarked. Immediately put his hands to his head. And then we have a look at Pitchford's penalty that he concedes on Steele. I think Pitchford was imagining a bit firmer contact, I think. And so he went in hard and then Steele just let off the gas a tad. Cowan rifled that one straight down the middle, which Pitchford saves. Steele did well to play in Cowan, and a good foot save. Probably needed to go to the far post rather than the near. Devonport, this is probably their best opportunity of the match, right down the middle, and that's really been about it for the Strikers, and they really have some work to do if they want to turn it around in the second half.
Yeah, they stem the chances flowing the other way, but they've not created a lot themselves. So we did mention in our pre-game chat they've got the strongest looking bench that we've seen in a team travelling for some time, and I think Rick Coughlin may well have to put that to use. We'll find out in about 10 minutes' time when we'll be back with what suddenly looks a very interesting second half indeed. Do stay with us. And we are back for the second half. The Devonport Strikers out well before the Kingborough Lions. Rick Coughlin still deep in conversation with Max Fitzgerald, but they're out there jumping on the spot. A little bit re-energised. They're going to need to be, because they're going to need to go up a gear. If they keep playing as they did in the first half, then I think they're in a little bit of trouble already. I've spied Eddie Bidwell out there, so one change at least for the Devonport Strikers as they try and change the game. Two changes, because there is the fox in the box. So they're the two men we've called for, and they might be listening to us, Paul.
I was going to say, I'm not sure what legality. Maybe if you sat behind the Devonport bench and just cranked your phone up, had a speaker, you could listen to our dulcet tones, get our tactical tips, which are clearly marvellous, and just implement them at half time. It's clearly what the coach has done.
That's it. It's not that they were the obvious two calls that were just crying out to be made. It's definitely our doing. Anyway, Kingborough don't appear to have made any changes, so it looks like Kynan West is one of the two who's gone off. I'm just trying to figure out who the other player to make way is.
Number 2 doesn't look out there.
Jack Dance. So the two youngsters who were rotated in to give a chance have not seized that chance, and sensing the need to act, Rick Coughlin has brought on two of his regulars in Barnard and Bidwell to try and turn things back in their favour. 0-all the score. Kingborough with the best chances through 45 minutes. If you're just tuning in, Danny Cowan 3 times should have put his team in the lead. Hasn't done so in Devonport. And a couple of reasonable looks, but both fired straight at the keeper, and these are really gilt-edged chances. So it's the Lions who should be ahead. They're not. Devonport are fortunate to still be on terms, and they're not mucking about. They've made 2 changes at half-time to try and wrest back control of this one. An opponent they beat, of course, by a margin of 6-0 just 6 days ago. So certainly a little bit unexpected was the first half fight, but it's been good stuff from the Lions so far. They've looked well organised, well drilled at the back. Can they maintain it for the full 90 is the challenge that awaits them. Let's see if they can. As Raf Reynolds heads down, we're back underway and the battle resumes on Good Friday. A spot in the Lakosljac Cup quarterfinals awaiting. Stone to Giampoli, back to Stone. Devonport looking switched on early. That one repelled. Smith. Stone couldn't get through. Fell to Kingston. Kingston threads it. Lovely ball for Fitzgerald. He's got Bidwell storming to the back post. Oh, Eddie Bidwell puts the Strikers into the lead, and in the opening minute they've hit the front, and that was better than any move they produced in the entire first 45. Eddie Bidwell off the bench, needs 50 seconds to leave his mark.
I was just scrolling through some of our wonderful comments we get from viewers, and one person said, no Bidwell, no party, and that is the case here. Lovely run from Fitzgerald. Bidwell with the urgency at the back post. Fires that one in. We've got some net difficulties as well after he goes clattering into that. Wonder if we'll have some Costa Barbarousis on the shoulders action to try and get that back and ready for play to resume. But Eddie Bidwell, it's super sub action here. Been a force all season storming down the wing. And as you say, 50 seconds before the goal. And Greg Calvert, the coach of the Lions, is not terribly pleased. And he'll be ruining those missed chances already.
Absolutely. And Rick Coughlin's well and truly been vindicated for his double switch at the break. They were certainly, Bidwell was someone I thought the game was crying out for, and that's just why he just makes those runs. Always storming into the box, always getting forwards. He's thriving on the wing this year, and Devonport now with a 1-0 lead. The game just turned around on its head, and Kingborough, well, you're going to wonder how their psyche's affected by that. They've probably just produced one of their better halves for the season, and just a minute into the second, they find themselves chasing them.
Well, that one goes into the feet of Cowan. As far as Park, Bidwell with his second touch of the game finds his fellow substitute in Barnard. Good harassment there from Cowan. As Carno can't get past Steele. Reynolds fires out to Fitzgerald, just about keeps that under control without using the arm. Smith plays it back to his keeper Pitchford. And as far as Easton, now it's Dowse, probably the Lions' best attacking outlet in that first half. Can't get past Reynolds. Indeed, concedes the throw in as well. And the Lions really just have to put that behind them. try and convert one of these chances. As Cuthbertson hits that one with the studs. Barnard to Stone, who's looked more promising as he's dropped deeper. And it's Kingston. He doesn't have a whole lot of options here. Does the defensive midfielder. He does exceptionally well to turn out of trouble. And it's Smith to Fitzgerald. Sizes up. Smithy sharples, goes past a second, is unceremoniously not taken down. Despite his humongous frustration at the referee, Copra gave the symbol for all ball, and we'll have another look at that, but Fitzgerald was not a happy camper about that.
My instinct was free. We'll have a look on the replay here as he comes in. That's a fairly blatant free kick, I thought. Anyway, play on. The ball's heaved along. Connor Park wins in the air. He's the fox in the box getting involved. Nods it back down to Joel Stone, to Hingston. Smith. Pressured by Keenan Dowse, working hard as always. Joel Stone. Back to Smith. The Canadian Reynolds. Just punches that one in to Hingston, turning to Stone. Drop back off for Leonidas, who swings it out, spying Eddie Bidwell in space, and it's a good ball and a good first touch, and Bidwell looks to run at Joel Samet, gets around the outside. And his cross is well collected by the Lions' new goalie, who quickly releases here, and Keenan Dowse chests it back inside, then works it down the line for Danny Cowan, gets goal side of Raph Reynolds, then looks to put in a little cross, which Lascano awkwardly deals with it, cannons it into the side netting.
I think Pitchford had that covered, but it's always worrying as a central defender when it ripples the net.
Yeah, the goaltender had that covered.
As Steele will take the corner kick. The American has a lot of options, everyone crowding around Pitchford. And it goes in that direction. Scott tries to get up and eventually bounces in the 18-yard box and will run the whole way through for a goal kick. So danger averted there for the Strikers. Can take this one short if they want to. Goes to Smith. And he really tried to thread the needle there, Dom Smith. Couldn't quite, and Steele has it laid out in front of him. Turned over to Stone. Lovely challenge there from Easton, who's got a bit more of a licence to push on. Dowse. He's offside by about 5 yards, Dominic Easton. And does not make any attempt at that whatsoever.
Pitchford came up big in the first half with his penalty save and one stop on Danny Cowan, the long switching diagonal, trying to work its way to Bidwell, just held up a little. Samet able to intervene. Park out to Bidwell. Lascano, the Spaniard, charging forward here is the Spanish king. Guillermo Lascano lays it off for Bidwell. He's crossed into the middle, put behind by Scut. Max Fitzgerald just lining up and looking a little bit sharper in this second stanza are the Strikers. A bit more pace to their game, a bit more impetus, and really looking to pin these Lions back deep. Really put the pressure on them. They were under pressure for long periods in that first half. Fairly comfortable for the most part, but the game has really swung already in just these 6 minutes or so of the second half. We've seen that chipped right into the mixer, headed back across. Keeper comes, and he's shown a good strong pair of hands in the air so far today. As Perkinson.
Lovely trick there from Stone, just waiting for the keeper to get that one out of his hands and sneak in. Switching ball, not quite enough sauce on that one, and Reynolds manages to clear. Downs lays it back to Scott. Perkinson gives him an option. Whack down the line only as far as Connor Park. Inside to the fox in the box, Barnard. Cuthbertson clears as far as Steele, who's really been everywhere for the Lions and plays a nice ball over the top for Cohen to run onto. Pitchford comes out and collects well. Reynolds looks up and spies Fitzgerald, and that's the direction he goes in. Fitzgerald has got Smithy Sharples on an island and goes past him with pace. Barnard and Bidwell to come. Fitzgerald goes the heavy touch in front. And it wasn't fooling anyone in the Lions' defence. Now Dowse. Steele's now appeared on the other side of the pitch. Steele for Reynolds. Goes towards the back post. Park judges it well. Hall tracking back with Stone. Hall gets in front. Doesn't have a lot of options here, James Hall, but does well to get past Stone. Jinking inside, Lascano knew what he was doing the whole way there. Did the centre back. Stone mops up well. Bidwell, Lascano. Fitzgerald again is in a good pocket of space. They've really been implored to use him in this second half, and it's working dividends. But now Smithy Sharples wins that one. That went out of play there, I think. And then the AR has seen that as well. The infamous Lightwood Park slope getting the best of the new recruit, Smithy Sharples. Newish recruit. They seem to have a new player every week, the Lions.
Continually adding to the mix. Smithy Sharples been fairly present in the defence this year. It's coming across from the Warriors. Starting opportunities there has found more consistent minutes here at the Den as Connor Park work it out to Eddie Bidwell. Substitution that's really helped turn this game into Lascano. Good ball, and just a layoff was classy from Stone. Barnard couldn't quite get there, but Bidwell jumped into the attack nicely. Barnard tried to skip into space. Well defended from the Lions. And they'll cough it up here. James Hall losing it to Lascano. Takes it very wide here, the Spaniard, then looks to back in his pace. Puts a cross in, deflects to the top of the box. Easton stretches away. And a throw in, but 10 minutes in, this game's done a complete 180, Paul.
And this is, I think, what we were expecting pre-game to happen in the first half. It just took 45 minutes to Devonport to really get off the bus. And they've made some adjustments in that second half, and it has been all them so far as Kingston leaps over Cohen. Smith looks up, spies Fitzgerald in space, and that's the direction he goes to. Barnard waiting at the back. Lays it off short. Champoli to Smith. Intercepted by Dowse. Kingston gives a full 360. And back to Reynolds. Now Lascano. Park down the line. Look at that. Lovely ball in the Bidwell direction. Scott coming across. Bidwell gets there first. Eddie Bidwell lays it into the near post, but not enough pace on it to find the Fox, and Perkinson picks that one up. Fires it only as far as Smith. Down, so really hasn't seen a lot of the ball since about the 20th minute mark. Hall in towards Cohen. Now Dowse at the back post. Gets a good hit. Keenan Dowse with the volley. If you don't mind. From absolutely nothing, the Lions are back at 1-1.
Well, no problems with the finishing there. That is delightful from Keenan Dowse. That is an absolutely sublime volley. The technique here just watches it onto the boot all the way. That's a great strike, and he picks out the far corner. Absolutely nothing Pitchford could do with that one. And the Kingborough Lions get back on terms here in the Cup. Just when Devonport look to be asserting themselves back on top of this contest, Kingborough go and make it 1-1.
It's the first time they've really got him behind the striker's defence. Hall looking promising. And just deflected over to the back, and Keenan Dowse, you'd expect him to take a touch. In the end, that is a wonderful finish there. And no more than he's deserved, really. He's been their most likely outlet both tonight and the last couple of nights. Lascano to Barnard. Barnard holds it up well. Devonport now. Oh, they've looked so promising to start with, and here's another promising chance, but a bit too much on it there from Giampoli. Perkinson using all of his time to size up his options. Eventually goes long in the Cohen direction. He clearly got that word at second half. Smithy Sharples uses his body well and then uses the slope well. Takes the throw in. And as far as Smith. Smithy Sharples with the clearance. Lascano. Only little one into Stone, who keeps it well with both the centre mids for the Lions in trouble. Can't get that ball through. Steele waiting for options. Downs with a lovely ball. It's Hall again. Sizing up Park. Steele keeps running. So does Cohen. He hits it first time. Hall, it's a looping ball, and that should be a corner for the Lions. I'd have to check. That's probably their 7th or 8th they've had this game so far. It's the first one they've had this half, so it'll be the 6th. No one looking likely to take it. And there's Hall showing a couple of promising moments here in this second half. It'll be Steele with the right peg. On the grandstand side. And this Steele towards the back post, and rising high is Kingston in front of his keeper. Smithy Sharples and Giampoli, the two number 6s going at each other, and Keenan Dowse now doing well in defence to knock that one out for a throw. A good fight back here from the Lions, especially after going down so early in the second half, and then with 6 being put past them on the weekend. It's encouraging signs for the Lions. And Samet goes towards Cohen. Reynolds finds Bidwell, plays the look-away pass. Reynolds. And there's Carno. Good work playing it out from the back here from the strikers, but I put the mockers on Todd Hingston then. That one will go out for a throw-in. Quickly taken from Samet. Dowse tried to go the long way around Park, and they win another corner. The Lions really starting to turn the screws here, the home side. If you're going to have the cup set, which is what it would be if Kingborough managed to knock off the strikers here, you've really got to make the most of set-piece opportunities. All their tall timber crowding at the back post. They seem to have a humongous committee meeting as far away from the goal as possible. Really getting a good run up. Only one player anywhere near the keeper as Cullen makes his run. Downs goes towards the back post. Scutt rising high as Reynolds. Falls to Steele. Heads it back into the box. Moves clear from Barnard. Easton knocks it out to Downs. First time ball. Cohen probably shouldn't go for this, as I think he was offside. Rising high was Scutt, who's still up at the park. Stone. Back to Connor Park. Bidwell, Devonport's goal scorer. Good touch from Barnard. Hingston, inside run there from Fitzgerald. Fitzgerald's offside. Keeper came out to claim that one. The free kick has been awarded. Kenneth Perkinson, formerly of Winthrop. That's as far as I got with my deep dive in that second half. Whacks that one to no one in particular. Mark Munkar on the sideline there directing traffic for people to go and fetch the ball. Park down the sideline. Bidwell with the flick on header. Only as far as Samet. So we tick past the hour mark. Lions don't look like making a sub anytime soon, and the strikers have only really got one left after bringing on Bidwell and Barnard. There's Carno, chip through ball to Giampoli. Tries to go around Scutt, but he got the last touch. Did the import, and he thought about collecting that ball, which, to be fair, wouldn't be too bad an option. They need to show a little urgency here to the Lions.
Yeah, 1-1 past the hour mark. And they are right in this game, which somewhat unexpected. I thought they'd give an improved showing last week, but I didn't think they were going to be able to hang with the strikers based on what we've seen from the respective outfits over the past month or so. But this has been a much improved performance. And Devonport, who exploded out of the blocks in the second half, took the lead. Just been stung a little by that goal, I think. They're certainly not having it all their own way this evening, as this one's smashed away by Scutt. Raphael Reynolds closed down by James Hall. Their off-the-ball work has been night and day. Lions, from what we've seen, they've just closed them down pretty well. Eddie Bidwell proving to be a great substitution. Will he be a match-winning substitution? Well, that was a bit overly ambitious. Just clips it out too far ahead of him there. He's got wheels, but not quite that much pace. And he's certainly been lively since coming on, Eddie Bidwell. Moving to the wing this year. Previously playing at fullback, and every bit as important to his side there in attack as he has been in defence.
It was his first game as a winger, that FFA Cup game, when he got pushed up the field.
Not too sure. I suspect someone as talented as Eddie Bidwell probably played in attack as a youngster rather than just fullback.
At some point, because he's certainly a natural at it, is where I was getting with it. He certainly wouldn't become that good at the position in such a short space of time. He's on the ball now, is Bidwell. Lovely ball towards Lascano. Comes off the head of Keenan Dowse, who didn't really know a whole lot about it. Into the feet of Cohen, surely brought down from Reynolds. Taken quickly and well done. They're in on goal here. It's Hall trying to get past Dom Smith. That was exceptionally well. Coming back from left back. Running to the other side of the pitch. And bailing out his centre halves there was Dom Smith. Well done from the striker's fullback. So it was a well taken free kick. Very good thinking. That one's now back to Jampali. Park. Sloppy ball again, plays Kingston into trouble. It now falls to Steele, who's got two for company. Chip through over the top. Hall with a good touch, but went into the path of Reynolds. Fitzgerald again is in space, but looks the other way. Now back inside, Lascano. Good ball out to Bidwell. Can he keep it in? I think he just about has. Scott clears it, and the linesman's flag's gone up a tad late.
Very belated.
But probably accurate.
With our depth perception from up here in the box, I think fair to say he's in a slightly better position to call it. But
what do you mean? We're right in line.
Can't even see the line from our spot here. It just disappears down that slope. But look, 1-1, and the Lions defence tightening back up after exposed a little early on. That's the shock trooper, Eddie Bidwell, coming on and just changing things up a little bit, but they've adjusted reasonably well here. Still popping a little bit of heat down that right-hand side. Downs has had a quiet day, but he might have... No, offside flag raised here on Hall. Thought he might have been able to sprung a teammate there, but he's played a much deeper role and done some good defensive work, Downs, but in an offensive sense, we've not seen a lot from him in this one. Certainly the type of player who only needs one swing of that right boot of his, though. Joel Stone involved in plenty. Drops this one off to Fitzgerald. Fitzgerald will have a run here, and he gets around Smithy Sharples. Out the back he goes. Cross shut down by Dominic Easton. Take the throw.
What a bad shout there from Fitzgerald, asking his players to come, this side of the penalty spot to where he could throw it then.
No one really presenting it, and that for me is a concerning sign for Devonport. They're normally buzzing about the pitch, making things happen. They're a really proactive team. Not quite seen that today as a third and final substitution being made by the striker, so not keeping any bullets in the chamber is Rick Coughlin. He brings on Daniel Sison for Todd Hingston. Can Sison, the man who plies his craft in the Lions' den, he's now in one at the other end of the state. Shout out to Daniel and the Lions Den Barbershop in Launceston for all your salad needs. But he comes on here to the den, and he needs to make a similar impact to what he does to people's scones.
Yeah, he's the prime curator of salad in the NPL Taz. Is Sison, and we'll see what he can conjure up here. He's been in his rich goal-scoring touch of late, playing in a slightly more advanced role. Got the winning goal against Olympia from memory at the start of the season.
Very nice finish indeed it was. A striker's finish. Part of that little run where I think he 3 games, 3 goals or something. Sison really exploded out of the blocks. In good goal-scoring form, as you mentioned. A high-quality goal, all 3 of them. 2 from outside the area, and that one was just a little fake out of the centre-back and slammed it home. What's the difference between them and the Warriors? So they will be looking back on that goal at the end of the year with some importance As Carno, again, Eddie Bidwell. He has been prominent since coming on. He crosses looking for the Fox in the box. It was Scut, though, getting in front of him. The two centre halves just bracketing the Fox. They know they can't afford to give that man room. He's got pretty rich vein of form in the Cup over the past years or so. Miles Barnard, he's a man for the big moments, and they may well need a man like that today, Devonport. This one should be dealt with by the keeper. It doesn't even need to be as it lands on the roof, and they just do look a little bit off.
Yeah, that's a fair assessment of the strikers. They do look a bit off. The Lions have defended a lot better. They've held their shape for longer than we've seen in other matches as well. We have seen a fair few of Kingborough's games here at Slice of Cheese so far this season, and just the way they're angling the opposition towards where they don't want to go. There's been an improvement as Stone tries to jink his way around down, so he's not having a bar of that one. Knocks it out of play. As we tick into the 70th minute, 20 minutes left. We will come out on top in this Lakosljac Cup game. Stone. Sison. Back to Park. Park wanting to run inside. Tom Smith probably the best option here. That's where he goes back to. Fitzgerald. And Smithy Sharples on an island again, and they eventually go in that direction. The defender using his body well initially, but falling to the ground, gets back up and puts a good challenge in. Does the defender, and Rick Coughlin there is just about taking the throw in on behalf of his team there, imploring them to get forward as Scut comes across. Fitzgerald offside thanks to that touch from Stone. Rick Coughlin, well, we don't mind the work of Dogger Brown of South Hobart getting out of the bench on occasion. Coughlin's more than matching him on this occasion.
He loves patrolling that line. He's always up there barking the instructions, and I think it'd be a concern to Rick Coughlin at this point. Not quite going to plan for his side today. Too often that has been the case, but over the course of a whole year, you're going to be facing adversity sooner or later. And it's how you overcome it that determines these things. It's Kingborough. Well, it's been a pleasing 70 minutes for them, and I think also pleasing reaction to the first 10 minutes of this half when it looked like Devonport had just clicked into gear. I was thinking, well, here we go. They've clicked now. We know how this story is going to end. They've missed their chance, but no, they've gotten right back down to it. We're doing the things that were working well from the first half. Devonport is certainly having much more of the game than they did the first 45, but the Lions defending well at the moment.
They certainly are, as we have a look at that replay of Kingston clearing the ball and then going to ground. There's Smithy Sharples in the end, who's now being seen to. He's off the pitch and the game has resumed. Fitzgerald trying to go through most of the Lions' defence. Easton comes across and does concede the corner. So the strikers now haven't had too many set-piece chances in this match. We'll see what Sison can conjure up from the corner. Not afraid to push bodies forward, though, for the situation of the strikers. Only their goal scorer, Eddie Bidwell, back, and everyone else is up. Pitchford, of course, still back. We haven't quite got to keeper runs in Cup game status just yet. And Sison, nice ball over the top of Perkinson, cleared off the line. Howls for a goal off Sison, not heeded from the referee. We have terrible depth perception up here, so we go to the replay. Header off the line with the kind of thigh there of the player on the near post. There's Smith now. Turns on it. Lays it back to Sison. To Fitzgerald. Inside to Giampoli. Good 1-2. Sliding in is Easton. Sliding in again. Still going is Giampoli. Another cross ball. Perkinson comes out, nearly falls to the Fox. Foul adjudged to be given against Barnard. I'll tell you what, I would not mind another look at that goal situation as Scut is down holding his face.
Cleared off the line. It's very, very close there for the Devonport strikers. Can't quite break through. They're knocking on the door. The threat of extra time starting to come into play. Probably only really a threat to the two of us who are going to need to hightail it to Warrior Park for the next one, Paul. But
yeah. Only those of us who have a very speedy 20-minute drive over to the Eastern Shore.
Probably not an adjective applicable to anyone else. Who's probably chomping at the bit for a bit of extra time.
I think the wider football community is all about that. Not sure if they're going to enjoy the first couple of minutes of the Warriors game with the sound of silence.
John O can hold down the fort till we get there.
Yeah, we've just dobbed you in, Jono. Sorry about that. If you're watching pre-game.
Warm up the vocal cords, son, because this one could well be going the distance. It is the Kingborough Lions taking it right up to Devonport. A little unexpected this. They're two teams in the same division, so certainly with the home ground advantage, we probably expected a slightly closer one than last Saturday, but there was such a disparity watching that game back between them. It's been remarkable the way things have swung. Full credit to Greg Calvert. He's got this team up tonight. And Devonport, well, maybe just a bit of complacency perhaps sunk in. I'm not sure. Maybe one eye to the Hobart Zebras game on Monday. I'm not too sure, but they learnt pretty quickly. They're right up to their necks in a ball game here. And if they're going to advance to the quarterfinals, they're really going to have to earn it. Both these teams will be looking at the prospect of a spot in the final 8. And of course, only a few games away from the national stage in the FFA Cup around a 32. When we start getting to the pointy end of this one, Joel Stone outside of the boot pass trying to spring Bidwell. Dominic Easton just tucking back inside and clears the area again. Approaching the final 15, I'll imagine there'll be a fairly hearty period of stoppage time to be added. Throw taken to Bidwell. Bidwell back out for Lascano. Just punches it in to Fitzgerald. Trying to bring it under his spell. Giampoli, sorry, great little back heel too for Barnard and draws the free kick, does the Fox. Thinking about taking it quickly is Stone, and now he's more concerned with getting it a little bit more central. Yeah.
I think it was for the first little nibble that Cuthbertson had on Barnard rather than the second. Well, this is a dangerous area for the Lions to be conceding a free kick.
There's a conference over who's going to have this free kick too. They are deep in conversation. Syson, Fitzgerald, Raph Reynolds is inserting himself now. They all want to fall.
Not the monopoly that Stone had on the free kick in the first half.
No. Who's going to be the one to pull rank on this one? Daniel Syson, the substitute. He's maybe just saying to Stoney, look, we had that free kick earlier in the year up at Valley Road, which you put straight into the ball, and it was upon me to then put it in top right from 25 yards out. Maybe you just give it to me first time, this circumstance, eh? It looks like Daniel Syson may well have won that argument. So he stroked to the ball. And he's got the hands on the hips, which is the universal symbol for I'm about to hit this ball. So let's see. Fitzgerald, of course, always an option with the left foot, but got to fancy Syson here. What a big moment in the game. Everybody back. That is just a wall that Donald Trump would love. That is huge. There are just bodies everywhere. Up steps Syson over the crossbar. Always rising as the Lions had every man back there.
Close, but not close enough, Syson. You could see what he was trying to do, just aiming for that top corner. Could not quite find a hole to fit that one in is Perkinson, who's had a pretty good game up here on debut tonight. Falls out to Bidwell. Beats Dowse, who we haven't seen a lot of in an attacking sense in this second half. Certainly not compared to the first, despite his wonderful goal. It's about the only time he's really got into the 18-yard box. It was Giampoli. Finds Park. Bidwell. Downs knocks it off a Devonport player, but Bidwell just keeps it in. And Bidwell goes near post. Barnard lays it back. Giampoli to Fitzgerald. Good touch from the winger. Lays it inside. Giampoli tried to bend it into the back corner. Did not get the direction. Did the Strikers midfielder. And now the Lions look set to introduce some fresh legs. It's probably needed. It is Phil Kansos, whose haircut is nowhere as good this year as it was last year, is coming on, and it is, by the looks of it, it's not Keenan Dowse coming off. I got a bit worried then. He was taking off the goal scorer then. It's James Hall coming off, so a like-for-like replacement there from the Lions. Dowse just moving to the other side of the pitch, down the right flank. There's Perkinson Now goes in the Cohen direction, up against Smith. Smith manages to win that one. Easton can't quite get to that. Barnard caught in a line sandwich. Doesn't win the foul. Dowse battling with Stone. Stone does well. Lovely chip ball there. Scott coming across, using his body well. Concedes the corner. He only got there by fractions of a second, did the centre back. And the Strikers really building here in the last 5 to 10 minutes. Starting to get on top, but just can't quite find the back of the net yet.
Yeah, they're dialing up the pressure. They take this one short. Max Fitzgerald plays it back to Sison, a little nutmeg. He'll get a second bite at it. He'll settle for a corner instead rather than trying the cross off balance on the non-preferred. And we'll go through this dance once again. The Lions with 2 men there, which probably suggests the cross is coming in rather than the short one. He drives this one near post, headed away. Giving chases Fitzgerald, beaten to the ball though, and that's whacked well away. Down with snow on it. Kansos gave a good honest chase. Couldn't quite win it though. Always favoured was Park. Actually, it couldn't have been Park because he's got the ball now. So it must have been Jampoli, the other man with the red boots out there. Park on this occasion works it back centrally. Did no favours there to his teammate. Really did pretty well to make that work for him, Daniel Sison. It's a tough one. Pitchford. Well, that's Carno. Hasn't been up this end of the pitch too often in the second half. Devonport controlling the play. But as it stands, 1-1. Keenan Dowse getting the Lions right back on terms. An extra time starting to loom as a real prospect here. Devonport, don't forget, have made their 3 substitutions already. Connor Park swinging this one in the Fitzgerald direction. Can he get in behind Smithy Sharples? It's Max Fitzgerald! Clinical finish from the Strikers winger. He restores the lead with a clinical strike. A lovely ball springing him over the top. And he's had a fine game, Maxie Fitzgerald, and a real feather in the cap there for him.
That's a good goal from the Strikers. They've really been using Fitzgerald all second half. He's been on an island with Smithy Sharples, uses his body well. Keeper will be disappointed to be beaten at the near post, but when you put that much power behind the shot, it's very, very hard to save. And Fitzgerald, who's been the main outlet for the Strikers this game, has put them 2-1 in front. And it'll be interesting to see whether they keep their foot on the gas to try and extend their lead or sit back. Kingborough will be looking pretty dangerous from set pieces, especially with their height if they can get it up that end, but they simply haven't had it up their end the last 15 minutes.
Yeah, certainly hasn't been the case. That the goal they did get from Keenan Dowse was really against the run of players, or net maintenance going on, giving another chance for a drinks break and another chance for a look at this finish from Fitzgerald, just bodied up with Smithy Sharples there, and from the angle, keeper comes across but just beats him with raw power, as you say. Made himself big, but he couldn't keep it out. And Max Fitzgerald, as the Strikers back on course for the quarterfinals. Given a scare today by the Lions, but they're now probably 10 to 15 minutes away, depending on just how many minutes of extra time we've got. All progressing, or have the Lions got another goal in them? Is there a late sting in this tail? Pitchford really had to work to prevent the corner there.
I think Copra's given the corner by the looks of it. The assistant referee wasn't in the position to look at it straight across the line. And to be fair, neither was Copra.
Yeah, I don't know about that one. I thought he'd done pretty well, Pitchford, but the corner opportunity, and they'll certainly take that over a throw in when you've got Chris Downs to swing it in. They've responded to going behind once already. Can they do it again to the back post? Off the shoulder of Smith, volleyed back goalward. Important header that from Park. Kansos was just waiting for it. Jampoli trying to wriggle free of Keenan Dowse and deflects out of play. Jampoli kept it in. And Downs, I think, was going for a little bit more purchase on that one. He hasn't been able to prevent the quick throw, which is taken to Bidwell. He can't get in behind Smithy Sharples. Blocked his clearance, though, and wins the throw-in via a fortunate deflection.
He does indeed. Downs, he was trying to hit that into the adjacent car park and only managed to hit the advertising hoarding, and it nearly put his team under the cosh. Strikers through Bidwell. Well, he's put way too much power on that return ball, giving his teammate down on the sideline. Park, no chance of controlling that one. Quickly taken. Scut back to Perkinson. High ball. Smith, the only one underneath it. On Stone. Lovely chip through ball. Fitzgerald once again down this left-hand side. Fitzgerald towards the back post and nearly put into his own net. Joel Scutt, he had to get something on it. It was the fox in the box. It was lurking just behind. Not quite as much urgency here from the strikers as we'd seen prior. Sison jogging across to take. Still got 5 up in the box to the strikers. Sison towards the back post. Headed back by Reynolds. Cleared by Cohen. Eventually whacked clear. Running as far as Jampali. Looking for Reynolds down the right-hand side, who don't think could quite keep that one in. Kingborough have the chance to try and wheel the ball forward. Perkinson gets his head up and plays it short. It'll be Cantsos playing a 1-2 with Steele. Gets the return boulders, Cantsos. Keep going down the line, trying to take on Park. Still going is Cantsos. Probably a little too fancy there. And Sison with room to run. Good hold-up play. Stone goes the chip through. Ball towards Fitzgerald. But Perkinson gets there in time. Still showing plenty of urgency to get forward. The strikers. Douse eventually wins the ball back and then loses it behind him. He does win the throw. No, he doesn't.
Dom Smith there. Right in front of the touchline. Looks like Tom McDonald's going to come on for the Kingborough Lions as they try and find themselves a late leveller, and it's going to be attacker for defender. Yeah, I thought it was going to be Samet, but it looks like Scutt is going to be the man to make way. So they'll move to a back 4 instead and stick the extra up top. And I'll tell you what, that's definitely not Tom McDonald. That's just his number. I've just seen the number 9 from behind, and that is Brenton Muir. And, well, too much number swapping goes on in these competitions for mine, Paul.
No, you were stitched up there a bit, Cooling. Number 9 for the Lions. Certainly last season and this year's been Tom McDonald. It was Easton. Plays it to Muir. Muir gets the ball up to Cohen. Tries to skip past Reynolds. And Reynolds hasn't really missed a beat in his return to Tasmanian football.
Pretty composed at the back. It'll be a very good addition. As we said, Mulroney on the bench today. They've got a wealth of options. Dom Smith, who's played left back, more than capable at centre half. Connor Park can play centre back. They're not exactly sniffing about for centre halves, the Devonport strikers. And Reynolds can play central midfield too. I think we might see a little bit of that throughout the second half of the season. As this one's worked forward. I'm not sure the last time Todd Kingston played a full season, so I'd imagine there'll be a bit of rotation going through that defensive midfield role. Reynolds, we saw play to that tremendous effect the last time he was down here in 2017. Certainly they've been the team to beat so far this year, and they've just added a little bit more quality, although today has certainly shown they are fallible. And if Kingborough hadn't been able to convert that period in the ascendancy in the first half, you just never know. But credit to Devonport, who've dug deep, fought their way out of it, and produced a pretty strong showing in this second half for the most part. They've been in control of it. They've got the goals they've needed. And Kingborough really have only had that one moment in attack, which was a pretty phenomenal goal.
Yeah, it's only had the one chance this half and taken it, and had 4 in the first half and didn't take any, and that's what will leave the coach scratching his head at the end of this one. There's still time for the Lions, but we're just seeing the strikers playing some very good keep ball, particularly the last couple of minutes, and they're winning the foul there again. We're probably, I'm going to take a guess, at least 4 minutes of stoppage time. Wouldn't be surprised to see 5 either.
I think they'll have a healthy dose of it, which will certainly please the hosts here. It really looked like creating a goal as they've chased it, but you never know. The Douse volley came out of the blue, and that can happen in football. As you've just said, they had 4 glorious opportunities in the first half, and then half chance produces the goal with a stunning volley That's football, and that's cup football. There's 2 dummies over this one, and eventually Stone will swing it in. Headed back out to the head of Fitzgerald. Joel Stone buys himself a little room. A shimmy, then he drops it off for Sison, then he falls back, but controlling the ball back to Eddie Bidwell, who's covering for Park, who made a bursting runs forward. He combines with Bidwell here. And now Bidwell will drive to the byline and swing it across. No one at the back post. Oh, my word, almost an own goal. Keenan Dowse certainly wasn't trying to do that. That would have been one of the more bizarre own goals you'll have seen.
That is really one of the most extraordinary own goals I would have ever seen.
He's got his volleys going goalward tonight.
Just did not get his body shape right at all there, did Dowse, and brings a humongous sigh of relief. The strikers have another set piece. Perkinson comes out to punch. And came off the striker's head last. We'll have another look at that one, and yeah, punched it square into the schnoz of Miles Barnard. Now Perkinson. Leaves that one down the middle. Muir and Cohen waiting. Cohen wins the header. Reynolds sprays it out to Smith, who finds Fitzgerald. Coming up against Keenan Dowse, who does well to clear it away. Stone, who I do think has looked a better player in this match when he's dropped deep into the centre of midfield after about 25-30 minutes. He likes to get his toe on the ball and really run the pace of the game to Stone. There he is, finding Smith. And he finds Reynolds, trying to shift over the Lions, and they do enough to put pressure on. Kansos running down the left wing. Steele in front of him. Cohen as well. Puts it out in front of Steele. Too much on it, but he keeps it in play. Steele getting back onto the right peg. Towards Downs at the top of the box. Flicks it on. Muir. Cohen. Back to Downs, who's looking for Steele, but well blocked off by the strikers. Stone. Down the line towards Fitzgerald, but Stork should be able to come and collect. Back to Perkinson. High ball will elude Cohen, but can't elude Reynolds. Bidwell. Kansos. Steele. What can he do to get around Connor Park? And he's tried a couple of attempts and then launches it down the line, but that's gone out of play to an on-rushing Samet as we are in the 91st minute.
Yeah, is there a late sting in this one? A twist in the tail for the Lions. They've not got long. Devonport haven't looked overly troubled at the back in this second half. Just a couple of minutes ago, it's one of the rare occasions we've seen them back en masse, bodies in the box, doggedly defending, and they could ice the game here. It's a great chance, storming into the box. Giampoli knocks it back, and then it is fired in. They'll have themselves a corner. So a bit of an anti-climax in the end, although it was lining up for the sealer here. A storming run from Giampoli.
I was watching on the monitor and Fitzgerald had me temporarily fooled there, thinking it was a goal with both arms in the air.
Must admit I had to do the double take there when the net bulged. Devonport strikers not quite able to ice it, but keeping the ball up this end of the park and needing some more seconds off the clock might just achieve the same thing. Corner swung in near post. Lascano gets a big piece of it, but can't direct it. And Kingborough have got to go, and they've got to get bodies forward, more to the point. Got to fling it forward here with a reckless abandon. Time has become the enemy now. Not sure how long left they've got. Can't imagine it's more than a minute or two. Danny Cowan, as ever, the target. Out the back for Dom Smith. Lascano wasn't quite aware Steele was breathing down his shoulder. Barnard presents it up. They'll just keep a hold of the ball, swing it wide. And they'll just try and run some clock here, although charging at them is Bidwell. It falls through for Barnard to the back post. And behind for another corner. It's going to be more seconds off the clock. And the keeper in trying to expedite proceedings here is just giving the strikers more of an excuse to take the time and get the ball to the corner spot too.
I think despite the risk involved, Dowse needed to try and not work that one out for a corner. really need to keep it in the field of players. They'll take a good 30 seconds off the clock. So Lascano in front trying to get some fluids in. Fitzgerald will go towards the corner flag. Sison wanting it back. And he's just going to hold it up. And they do get it cleared. Douse. Well, you could see what he was trying to do to wrap his foot around it, but has managed to find his coach, who shows a good first touch.
Just leant back a bit too much on that one, Keenan Douse. Time just about out here for the Lions. They fought bravely. They played a great first half for Devonport. The class has shone through in the end, and it looks like they're going to do just enough to progress and move on. They'll join the Hobart Zebras as the second team through to the quarterfinals. The Hobart Zebras team, they will play on Monday. It's the next live stream game we have for you as Fitzgerald smashes across in there, cleared away. Now flicked on, and here come the Lions. Perhaps one last roll of the dice here. Phil Kansos. They're going backwards to try and go forwards, but they're going nowhere fast. And cough back up. Barnard won it to Lascano. Lascano to Stone. And a free kick, which will just eke even more time off. And I think that might just about be curtains, Paul.
I think that will just about do it. Right into the back of Lascano. Some shenanigans going on in the corner. Steele sprinting to keep the ball, get it back in play quicker. He's sensing the urgency, and his teammates not quite sharing that same urgency in getting the ball back as Sison elects to go towards goal, and Perkinson claims he'll put his foot through this one. Play still continuing. It's a heaving kick. One bounce into the penalty spot. As Carno thumps it clear. Looking for Bidwell. Touched over the top. Samet. Bidwell. It's come off Joel Samet. And I think with that, we will see the end of the game imminent. A look at the watch from the referee. Park strides forward to take. Throws it in towards Barnard. Corner conceded.
I thought there'd be any need to put this one into the mixer whatsoever. Just try and keep it down in the corner flag. By the time it's done, 96 minutes pretty much have been ticked off here. I can't think there'd be any more than that. This is surely the last action of the game. Devonport, barring anything extremely miraculous, which on a Good Friday, who knows, will be advancing through to the quarterfinals. So they'll join the Zebras there. Bunch more games on tomorrow all around the state. There's a free kick going for the Lions here. Can they smash it long and try and make something happen? They might as well flood bodies forward, as this is absolutely it. Again, the long ball from the keeper to the head of Cowan. Over the top, though, it was Park. And then out wide for Eddie Bidwell. Bidwell, spying the keeper off his line, tried the ambitious chip. And he might give him one last chance. Some great shielding going on here from the Fox. A bit of foxing going on there from Miles Barnard. Long they go again. Still we play. Flicked on. And then again. How's this one going to spill? There's plenty of lines there. But first to the fall of it was Connor Park, who just saw it away. Just for half a moment thought it was going to land fortuitously for Kingborough. And there it is. The final whistle rings out around Lightwood Park. The Kingborough Lions fought valiantly, but the Devonport Strikers have taken the victory and advanced through to the final 8. A 2-1 win for them. Max Fitzgerald and Eddie Bidwell, very impressive down the flanks. And after Keenan Douse had leveled things up and made a real fight of it, they just found the class, the extra gear to go into in the last half hour. They're pretty comfortable in truth, Paul.
Yeah, after that Douse goal on 55 minutes, it really was all strikers. They dictated the tempo, played it their way, eventually got the goal, and then really just ran out the game pretty comfortably. The Lions, I do think this is the kind of match they can build on for the rest of their season. They've had some indifferent form to start it, but I think the coach and indeed the team will be pretty content with their performance, particularly against a side unbeaten this season, only conceded the one goal previously all season, and I think there's something to build on. But Devonport, they've made this Lakosljac Cup their own the last couple of years, and they'll go through. And so we'll have a very, very quick look at the goals. Bidwell striding into the back post.
That's why I called for him to come on, Paul.
Yeah, it's good to see the coaches listening to us up here in the media box. We did call it in the first half for Bidwell and Barnard to come on, and then Bidwell will have a look at the Douse goal. Flicked up in the air, and good technique to keep it down from Keenan Douse, sliding it into the side netting past Pitchford. Seems slightly shocked at his effort there as well with the celebration. And then again, Fitzgerald, who for mine was probably the player of the match, really set the stall out and fired that one home to make it 2-1 Devonport. And they'll go through to the next round. And with that, we're probably going to run off.
Yep, the Devonport Strikers victorious in this one, but the Good Friday footballing action doesn't stop there. We've got a classic Tasmanian football rivalry for you next. At 7 o'clock over at Warrior Park, the Olympia Warriors taking on the Glenorchy Knights. I am very much looking forward to that one. I'm going to hightail it up the highway to get there and bring it to you. Should be a real treat. Do join us for that. But from Lightwood Park, it's the Devonport Strikers who move on.